Hey, welcome to the Crazy Dre Podcast Show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time to do the NBA All Star Weekend. And what have we learned here? Absolutely everything. Okay. If you watch the NBA, I would say that you must be a diehard fan. I know it's not back in the 80s, it's not in the 90s, glory days of Michael Jordan, or even Kobe Bryant in the 2000s, or even the early years of LeBron James. But let's talk about this. First thing I'm going to talk about. Well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the All Star Weekend, 3 point champion, the Slam Dunk champion, and then the All Star game in itself. And then final, I'm going to talk about how to fix the NBA. Let's talk about the NBA 3 point champion. So the 3 point champion is Damian Lillard. As most of you guys don't know, those who not watching the NBA, guess what? He has not been playing at all the whole year. Okay. So, because of his ACL injury from last year, and he's recovering. So, this means that you have a lot of new faces, new players, and a lot of guys like Lillard who has not been played all year. And that's the only person that I really know. Okay. Uh, to be honest with you, I think that was a bad idea. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Damian Lillard. I think he's probably a nice guy, fantastic athlete, uh, third time 3 point champion now. But in reality, he's not playing. He has not played at all. He is not relevant in the game right now. So why don't the NBA make a rule that you have to be able to play 40 or maybe up to 30 games in the first half to at least be a participant in the 3 point contest. Okay. That in itself is something that needs to be addressed. Okay. And that, and I think that if you don't address that, then you're just losing your fan base. You're losing everyone who kind of knows who's playing and kind of doesn't know what's going on. So when fans who don't watch the NBA at all, and then they turn the TV on and say, and then the announcer says that he hasn't been playing at all the whole year, that's going to turn off the fan base because the fan base like, why is he even playing? That makes no sense. Why is he even participating in the 3 point contest? It should be mandatory. The first or at least the six top 3 point shooters in the league should be playing in the 3 point contest. Kate Cunningham, for God's sake, he throws out 3 pointers in Detroit, and he could have been participating in that. You could have just asked him to do it. He probably would have done it. Do I think he would have won it? Probably not, but it's the new face of the NBA. There's Kate Cunningham right there. Okay. Let's move over to the slam dunk contest. Let's take a look at this guy, Keyshawn Johnson, a G League player from Miami Heat. I think he was just brought back down and then brought back up from the G League, from the Miami Heat, and then they asked him to participate in the slam dunk contest. And he's won his first slam dunk contest in the NBA, but he also won his first slam dunk contest when he was a younger uh, basketball player. So he does have some history of winning or participating in slam dunks. However, let's talk about the fact that you had uh, uh, Carter Bryant from the Spurs, uh, Jace Richardson from the Magic, uh, Orlando Magic. You had again Keyshawn Johnson from the Heat, and then you had Jackson Hayes from the L.A. Lakers. But here's what I want to talk about, though, folks. You can't have a guy in the G League win the slam dunk contest if he's not ever been played or he has been playing that much because no one's going to know who he is besides the inner circle of guys that do dunk the ball or slam dunk contest anywhere from Miami to Orlando to New York City to LA or wherever it's at. or wherever those guys participate on the streets to do slam dunks on the side. But again, God bless this kid. He comes out and he's dancing, he's moving. I think he's trying to make the crowd into it. He wants the crowd dancing with him, and everyone on TV is watching him and say, "What are you doing? You got nothing so far, and you're dancing." And to be honest with you, most of these guys like Jace Richardson, Jackson Hayes, and even Johnson over here, they missed so many dunks that it was not even uh, capable of rating them from 0 to 100. I feel one thing they got to do is to get rid of the clock for the slam dunks, and second of all, you only get really one time to actually make your dunk. And if you don't make that dunk, then you get a zero. That's what I just really, really think that. I really do. I really do. And I think that would help out the guys who should be dunking in the slam dunk contest and say, you know what? I know I can dunk, and let me show you how to do it, and go from there. All right, excuse me as I'm coughing. My gosh, I think I'm getting over this cold. But that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would get rid of the clock and get rid of the whole give me 3 or 4 times to do a dunk. Even Carter Bryant missed on the last round of the slam dunk contest, the dunk that he wanted to do, and he missed it. And then he did a kind of just a boring little dunk, and he lost it to Keyshawn Johnson. That's really what happened. Okay, that's really what happened. It wasn't really because Keyshawn Johnson actually just took the ball and dunked it and made a magic this amazing dunk and was just amazing. It was never there. Uh, let's go to the All Star game in itself. You had the World League. I mean, you had the world players from around the world. And then you had the All Stars, the stars, which were the younger guys like Cade Cunningham and those guys. And then you had the old timers like LeBron James, Steph Curry, and all those guys in the stripes. So what I see here is that you're trying to divide the NBA from the World League from the world against the states, and you know what happened? The younger guys won the All Star. It wasn't the old guys because they were too old, couldn't keep up with everything. I mean, Steph Curry wasn't playing. Uh, there's so many like Durant wasn't even Well, yeah, he did play, but he didn't play much. I mean, if you want to see anything, you should watch Victor Wembanyama. He was playing real well in the All Star Week games in itself, but they had to sit him out so that the Stripes and the Stars could actually participate against them. So when Victor Wembanyama was on the court, it was just full dominance, just that youth dominance. And they're lucky they didn't have Luka Doncic not playing in there because they really would have that world team would have really beat the Stripes and the Stars. I mean, just hands down. But uh, Kyle Leonard, he as an older player on the Stripes, he kind of came back and showed his uh, his ability to play, and he took down the world team. That's what happened, and then the world team was eliminated, and then the stars, the younger guys like Anthony Edwards and Kate Cunningham, and those guys played against the Stripes, the older guys, and and the younger guys won. So isn't it always just the case that the younger guys are going to win the All Star? Okay, I think I kind of like the setting a little bit better. I will say that it was a little bit more entertaining than having the East against the West and no one's actually playing against each other. This they try to make it so that they're, you know, they had the 50 continental or the 48 continental states playing against the world to prove that they're not going to lose to the world. And I kind of bought into it a little bit, but let's be honest. If those guys, if the world players were not hurt, like Giannis was participating, and Luka Doncic was entertaining, was playing, then yes, that would make sense. So so did I like it? I wouldn't mind it, but it was acceptable. All right. Uh, Adam Silva has addressed that he may eliminate the NBA draft, and because teams are tanking, and tanking means that they're not trying to win; they're trying to get the number one draft. Uh, this is why this doesn't work. That doesn't work because players on a team that are trying hard to stay on the team are not going to really tank because they don't want the number one draft, the guy that they're drafting to take their spot. So that's why that tanking wouldn't really work. So that in itself, the draft, when eliminating the NBA draft, you could eliminate the NBA draft, but how do you have all these 30 players that are coming from the no, I would say like 60 players because you do the first round and the second round. 60 players. You get them to get a free agent, practice at a facility, do G League, Summer League, and then you draft. I mean, then you pick up the player based on the contract. I don't know. They would lose the money if these players that came out of the collegiate leagues or came out straight out of high school, if the NBA got rid of the draft, the players would lose those rookies would lose money big time. Okay, they would lose them big time. So I don't think that would work. I think one way that you could do this, uh, teams not tanking, is during the regular season. Each team plays a 3 game series, just like baseball. Follow me. So if you're at one, so let's say you're in the Miami against the Lakers. The Lakers and Miami would play 3 games. Now, the third game would not that third game would be optional because the third game, if Miami beats LA 2 nights in a row, then that third game is just not, it's just washed. Okay, but it's a point system, so you get points based on how many series you win. Okay, baseball doesn't really do that series. It's more like hockey. Okay, follow me. It's more like hockey. So if Miami takes the series from the Lakers, the Miami Heat gets a point and the Lakers get half a point. Now, this would happen the whole year. So each team will play each team 3 times. Now, in the NBA, I think you divisional teams play at least 4 times. Okay, that would not be necessary anymore. The important thing is that you win series. That you win the series against the other team. That's how you get points. The second thing I would do is during the playoffs, the first 2 rounds are like a March Madness thing. So every team is in the playoffs, and it's the first 2 rounds is you win it, you keep going. You lose, you're out. So if you're the Lakers or you're a number 4 seed, let's say the Lakers are a number 4 seed, and let's say the Pelicans or the Charlotte Hornets are the 29th and 30th seed, and they beat the Lakers, they get to go on to the next round, and then the top 3 teams in the NBA with the best record, they have a bye for the first 2 weeks or the first 2 games for sure. Because then the third game, you go into the quarterfinals the semifinals, and then the NBA finals. But that way you make every team involved. So the worst team still has to play. And then by the end of the year, that's how you end up figuring out the NBA draft. Because the incentive is going to be like cash flow. All right. So a lot of these players are not going, I mean, a lot of these guys who are not on good teams don't have big contracts. So if you get a Charlotte Hornets guy that if they each get $150,000, which doesn't really sound a lot, but let's say you get a guy, teams like Charlotte Hornets, and they don't really do much, and they're not. These guys are like warm up guys. I mean, a lot of these teams that are not good, they don't have all stars. So a lot of these teams will have a lot of these almost like G League players, but they only there to fill in the seats for that city, and they know that they're going to lose. But this way, if they beat the Lakers or they beat the Pistons or they beat the Jazz or Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs, they get an incentive of cash. Okay, that's the way I would do it. So that's how I would fix the NBA. So if you guys have any other idea how to fix the NBA, let me know. I don't know if this is really a great idea, but there you have it. Thank you for listening to the Crazy Dre podcast show. Follow me on Patreon, follow me on YouTube, anywhere that you can download my podcast, Spotify, Apple. Peace, love, and yeah, go sports.